Shalom, Ashbika. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, Tina Ali Shema. I pray all is well and that you are resting in Yahuah. So we're going to pick back up on the Cepher of Yashar, or also known as the Book of Jasher. And if you're new to this channel, feel free to check out the playlist to listen to the previous recordings to catch up. But today we're going to focus on chapters 36 to 40. Now, the reason why, since if you are new, or just kind of a reminder of those of you that have been rocking with me for quite a bit and have been reading along in the Cepher of Yashar, we are reading this particular book because we're learning how to walk with Yahuah, to walk in truth. And the best way to do this is to have examples. Some of us have been awakened to truth for quite a while, and some of us have just woken up. But end of the day, no matter where you live in this world or where your forefathers have been scattered and now you're dwelling there, you have that particular nation or lifestyle, if you will, already part of what you've grown up with. And like, for example, for me, what I'm trying to say is I'm from the United States. So I've grown up in Babylon, America, and I have a way of life that I have been used to prior to waking up to truth. And I've been woken up for this since 2019. So about October, November 2019 is when Yahuah woke me up. So I'm going on, this will be my 2019, 2026, this will be my 7th year going into that of waking up to truth and learning how to walk in it. So with that said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So just because you wake up to truth doesn't mean automatically you're going to start walking in Yahuah's ways, especially if you have a mindset that you've had your whole life that is opposite of Torah. If you've spoken away all your life that is opposite of Torah, and your actions have been completely opposite of Torah. And that is what I found when I started reading the word from beginning to end after waking up to truth. And even with talking with others that have woken up to truth, other brothers and sisters, they've had the similar experience, is that everything we've ever done, thought, or said has been opposite of Torah because of the environment we've grown up in. It's like, just like the word tells you, what is evil is good and what is good is evil. And that's why it's so important to read Yahuah's word, study it, and then basically, just like the word says, excuse me, walk by faith and not by sight. What that really means is to walk by faith, amunah. You gotta walk this thing out that you're studying, you're reading. You gotta live it out. You can't just read it and not do anything about it. You've got to walk in Torah. You've got to live it out, and that's how His word manifests in your life. And for people to see His hand on you, is you've got to walk it out. It's just not with your words, it's with your action. So ultimately, to get back to this whole thing, is that Yasher or Yashari means upright. And we are to be the people that are living upright and to be that example. And there's so many examples of our forefathers, those of you that are part of the diaspora, that through this particular book that was taken out of the traditional Bible, of so many examples of what it looks like, whether they started off strong and finished strong, or whether they were started off and were just a wreck but finished strong. Either way, Yahuah is amazing, and He gives us hope through the various people we read about and for them to be an example to us so we can pivot. And as we read, we can find something in what they did or how they lived and how we can live too. Hallelujah. And then, like I said before, if you're new, check out the playlist, because not only the Cepher of Yashar is there, but other books, the book of Jubilees, or the Cepher of Yahuah, the prophets, Torah is in there. So many books that could be a blessing to you, that in between me dropping the readings, you can continue every day to listen to Yahuah's word, whether you are setting aside time to do your study, or you are going for a walk, or you're washing the dishes, you're driving to work. There's never a time that you won't have that time to just listen and just at least hear the word and get it in you. And lastly, if you've missed it, check out, click on the lives, because I just started recently the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. And again, we are on a journey on learning how to live upright, to live set apart. And this book, which is obviously amongst the 12 sons of Yasharal, and they each give advice before they transition. And we've already done the testament of Reuben, and last week was the testament of, I believe, I think it was Shimon. So when you get a moment, go listen to them. They're such a blessing, because not only I'm able to share lessons I took away from reading those books, but scriptural references. They bring up some really hot topics that we need to talk about, because how else are we going to, if we don't talk about sin in our lives, how else are we going to overcome? We talk about fornication. We talk about anger, envy, and a couple other things. And we're really trying to bring it out. So this way you can acknowledge that in your life. You can go back and think about, where have I fallen short in these areas and I have not repented? So that way you can repent and ask Yahuah, if I have any unrepented sin, please reveal it to me so I can repent. And if you just accidentally did it today, you can repent on that. But we go through those things. These are things that aren't, I know for me, when I was in religion, these things weren't really talked about that deep. And we've got to do it, because how else are we going to grow in our walk and show Yahuah that we truly love him? And love is not emotion, it's action. He shows us he loves us by protecting us, providing us with provision we need in our daily lives. He answers our prayers. As long as they're in alignment with his will, he answers our prayers, amongst other things. But he is such a loving father. I mean, he left us his word, that we have the opportunity to study it and to walk it out. So how you can show him you love him, because he tells you this in the Old Testament or Old Covenant, and the New Testament or the Renewed Covenant. He says, if you love me, walk in my ways. So to love him, we have to walk in his ways. And us as doing the study on Jasher, reading the testament of the 12 patriarchs, I'm trying to do my best, based on the assignment Yahuah has put on my life, to equip you to know what it's like, how to walk in Yah's ways, and to do it daily for the rest of your life. For those of you who've woken up to truth, and if there's any of you that have not quite gotten there yet, or kind of, just on the fence, I pray that as you listen and study with me or with the Mashpikad, the family, that this is, that you're all in now, and that you're starting to understand, and that Yahuah gives you eyes to see and ears to hear his truth. Now, without further ado, before we get started, grab your Cepher or your Hallelujah scriptures, pen and paper to follow along. Now let's get started. Chapter 36. At that time Yahuah appeared unto Yaakov, saying, Arise, go to Bethel, and remain there, and make there an altar to Yahuah, who appeared unto you, who delivered you and your sons from affliction. And Yaakov rose up with his sons, and all belonging to him. And they went and came to Bethel, according to the word of Yahuah. And Yaakov was 99 years old when he went to Bethel. And Yaakov and his sons and all the people that were with him remained in Bethel in Luz. And here they built an altar to Yahuah, who appeared unto him. And Yaakov and his sons remained in Bethel 6 months. At that time Deborah, the daughter of Uz, the nurse of Rivkah, who had been with Yaakov, and Yaakov buried her beneath Bethel, under an oak that was there. And Rivkah, the daughter of Bethuel, the mother of Yaakov, also died at that time in Kevron. The same is Kiryat Arba, and she was buried in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the children of Keth. And the life of Rivkah was 133 years, and she died. And when Yaakov heard that his mother Rivkah was dead, he wept bitterly for his mother, and made a great mourning for her, and for Deborah her nurse beneath the oak. And he called the name of that place Alan Bakuth. And Laban the Aramee died in those days, for Yahuah smote him, because he transgressed the covenant that existed between him and Yaakov. And Yaakov was 100 years old when Yahuah appeared unto him, and blessed him, and called his name Yasharal. And Rachel the woman of Yaakov conceived in those days. And at that time Yaakov and all belonging to him journeyed from Bethel to go to his father's house, to Kevron. And while they were going on the road, and there was yet but a little way to come to Ephrathah, Rachel bore a son, and she had hard labor, and she died. And Yaakov buried her in the way to Ephrathah, which is Bethlehem, and he set a pillar upon her grave, which is there unto this day. And the days of Rachel were 45 years, and she died. And Yaakov called the name of his son that was born to him, which Rachel bore unto him, Benjamin, for he was born to him in the land on the right hand. And it was after the death of Rachel that Yaakov pitched his tent in the tent of her handmaid Bilhah. And Reuben was jealous for his mother Leah on account of this, and he was filled with anger, and he rose up in his anger and went and entered the tent of Bilhah, and he thence removed his father's bed. At that time the portion of birthright, together with the kingly and priestly offices, was removed from the sons of Reuben, for he had profaned his father's bed, and the birthright was given unto Joseph, the kingly office to Yehudah, and the priesthood unto Levi, because Reuben had defiled his father's bed. And these are the generations of Yaakov, who were born to him in Padan Aram, and the sons of Yaakov were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, the firstborn, and Shimon, Levi, Yehudah, Yishakar, Zebulun, and their sister Dinah. And the sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, were Gad and Asher. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, were Dan and Naphtali. These are the sons of Yaakov, which were born to him in Padan Aram. And Yaakov and his sons and all belonging to him journeyed and came to Mamre, which is Kiryat Arba, that is in Kevron, where Abraham and Yitzchak sojourned. And Yaakov with his sons and all belonging to him dwelt with his father in Kevron. And his brother Esau and his sons and all belonging to him went to the land of Seir, and dwelt there, and had possessions in the land of Seir. And the children of Esau were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly in the land of Seir. And these are the generations of Esau that were born to him in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Esau were 5. And Ada bore to Esau his firstborn, Eliphaz, and she bore to him Reuel, and Aholibamah bore to him Yish, Yahalam, and Yerech. These are the children of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, Kenaz, Amalek. And the son of Reuel were Nakath, Zerach, Shema, and Mizah. And the sons of Yeish were Timnah, Aliah, Yahuah. And the sons of Yahalam were Allah, Phanor, and Kenaz. And the sons of Korach were Taman, Mitzor, Magdiel, and Aram. These are the families of the sons of Esau according to their Ephalim in the land of Seir. And these are the names of the sons of Seir, the Kori, inhabitants of the land of Seir: Lotan, Shaval, Sivan, Anna, Dishan, Etzer, and Dishan, being 7 sons. And the children of Lotan were Kori, Haman, and their sister Timnah, that is Timnah who came to Yaakov and his sons. And they would not give ear to her, and she went and became a concubine to Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and she bore to him Amalek. And the sons of Shaval were Alian, Manakath, Ebal, Shaphi, and Onem. And the sons of Sivan were Aya and Anna. This was that Anna who found the Yamin in the wilderness when he fed the asses of Sivan, his father. And while he was feeding his father's asses, he led them to the wilderness at different times to feed them. And there was a day that he brought them to one of the deserts on the seashore, opposite the wilderness of the people. And while he was feeding them, behold, a very heavy storm came from the other side of the sea, and rested upon the asses that were feeding there. And they all stood still. And afterward, about 120 great and terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea, and they all came to the place where the asses were, and they placed themselves there. And those animals, from the middle downward, were in the shape of the children of men. And from the middle upward, some had the likeness of bears, and some the likeness of kephas, with tails behind them from between their shoulders, reaching down to the earth, like the tails of the duchafath. And these animals came and mounted and rose upon these asses, and led them away, and they went away unto this day. And one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail, and then fled from that place. And when he saw this work, he was exceedingly afraid for his life, and he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to his sons and brothers and all that had happened to him. And many men went to seek the asses, but could not find them. And Anna and his brothers went no more to that place from that day following, for they were greatly afraid of their lives. And the children of Anna, the son of Seir, were Dishan and his sister Aholibamah. And the children of Dishan were Hemdan, Eshban, Yithran, and Chiran. And the children of Etzer were Bilhan, Zaavan, and Akan. And the children of Dishan were Utz and Iran. These are the families of the children of Seir, the Kori, according to their Ephalim in the land of Seir. And Esau and his children dwelt in the land of Seir, the Kori, the inhabitant of the land, and they had possessions in it, and were fruitful and multiplied exceedingly. And Yaakov and his children and all belonging to them dwelt with their father Yishak in the land of Canaan, as Yahuah had commanded Abraham their father. Chapter 37. And in the 105th year of the life of Yaakov, that is in the 9th year of Yaakov's dwelling with his children in the land of Canaan, he came from Padan Haram. And in those days Yaakov journeyed with his children from Chevron, and they went and journeyed to the city of Shechem, they and all belonging to them. And they dwelt there, for the children of Yaakov obtained good and fat pasture land for their cattle in the city of Shechem. The city of Shechem having then been rebuilt, and there were in it about 300 men and women. And Yaakov and his children and all belonging to him dwelt in the part of the field which Yaakov had bought from Camar the father of Shechem, when he came from Padan Aram, before Shimon and Levi had smitten the city. And all those kings of the land of the Canaanim and Amorim that surrounded the city of Shechem heard that the sons of Yaakov had again come to Shechem and dwelt there. And they said, Shall the sons of Yaakov the Ivri again come to the city and dwell therein, after that they have smitten its inhabitants and driven them out? Shall they now return and also drive out those who are dwelling in the city, or slay them? And all the kings of Canaan again assembled, and they came together to make war with Yaakov and his sons. And Yeshuv, king of Tapnach, sent also to all his neighboring kings, to Elon, king of Gash, and Ahuri, king of Shiloh, and to Parathon, king of Kazar, and to Kutsi, king of Sarton, and to Laban, king of Bet Koran, and to Shavir, king of Ophnama, saying, Come up to me and assist me, and let us smite Yaakov the Ivri and his sons, and all belonging to him. For they are again to come to Shechem to possess it, and to slay its inhabitants as before. And all the kings assembled together, and came with all their camps, a people exceedingly plentiful like the sand upon the sea, and they were all opposite of Tapnach. And Yeshuv king of Tapnach went forth to them with all his army, and he encamped with them opposite to Tapnach without the city. And all these kings they divided into 7 divisions, being 7 camps against the sons of Yaakov. And they sent a declaration to Yaakov and his sons, saying, Come you all forth to us, that we may have an interview together in the plain, and revenge the cause of the men of Shechem, whom you slew in their city. And you will now again return to the city of Shechem and dwell therein, and slay its inhabitants as before. And the sons of Yaakov heard this, and their anger was kindled exceedingly at the words of the kings of Canaan. And 10 of the sons of Yaakov hastened and rose up, and each on them girt on his weapons of war. And there were 102 of their servants with them, equipped in battle array. And all these men, the sons of Yaakov, with their servants, went towards the kings, and Yaakov their father was with them, and they all stood upon the heap of Shechem. And Yaakov prayed to Yahuah for his sons, and he spread forth his hands to Yahuah, and he said, O Yah, you are El Shaddai, you are our Father, you did form us, and we are the works of your hands. I pray you deliver my sons through your mercy from the hand of their enemies, who are this day coming to fight with them, and save them from their hand. For in your hand is power and might, to save the few from the many. And give unto my sons, your servants, strength of heart, and might to fight with their enemies, to subdue them, and make their enemies fall before them. And let not my sons and their servants die through the hands of the children of Canaan. But if it seems good in your eyes to take away the lives of my sons and their servants, take them in your great mercy through the hands of your ministers, that they may not perish this day by the hands of the kings of the Amorim. And when Yaakov ceased praying to Yahuah, the earth shook from its place, and the sun darkened, and all these kings were terrified, and a great consternation seized them. And Yahuah hearkened to the prayer of Yaakov. And Yahuah impressed the hearts of all the kings and their hosts with the terror and awe of the sons of Yaakov. For Yahuah caused them to hear the voice of chariots, and the voice of mighty horses from the sons of Yaakov, and the voice of a great army accompanying them. And these kings were seized with great terror at the sons of Yaakov. And while they were standing in their quarters, behold, the sons of Yaakov advanced upon them with 112 men, with a great and tremendous shouting. And when the king saw the sons of Yaakov advancing towards them, they were still more panic-struck, and they were inclined to retreat from before the sons of Yaakov as at first, and not to fight with them. But they did not retreat, saying, it would be a disgrace to us, thus twice, to retreat from before the Ephraim. And the sons of Yaakov came near and advanced against all these kings and their armies, and they saw, and behold, it was a very mighty people, numerous as the sand of the sea. And the sons of Yaakov called unto Yahuah, and said, help us, O Yahuah, help us and answer us, for we trust in you. And let us not die by the hands of these uncircumcised men, who this day have come against us. And the sons of Yaakov girt on their weapons of war, and they took in their hands each man his shield and his javelin, and they approached to battle. And Yahudah, the son of Yaakov, ran first before his brethren, and 10 of his servants with him, and he went toward these kings. And Yashuv, king of Tapnach, also came forth first with his army before Yahudah. And Yahudah saw Yashuv and his army coming toward him, and Yehudah's wrath was kindled, and his anger burned within him. And he approached to the battle, in which Yahuah ventured his life. And Yashuv and all his army were advancing toward Yahudah, and he was riding upon a very strong and powerful horse. And Yashuv was a very valiant man, and covered with iron and brass from head to foot. And while he was upon the horse, he shot arrows with both hands from before and behind, as with a manner in all his battles. And he never missed the place to which he aimed his arrows. And when Yashuv came to fight with Yahudah, and was darting many arrows against Yahudah, Yahuah bound the hand of Yashuv, and all the arrows that he shot rebounded upon his own men. And notwithstanding this, Yashuv kept advancing toward Yahudah to challenge him with the arrows, but the distance between them was about 30 cubits. And when Yahudah saw that Yashuv darting forth his arrows against him, he ran to him with his wrath, excited might. And Yahudah took up a large stone from the ground, and its weight was 60 shekels. And Yahudah ran toward Yashuv, and with the stone struck him on his shield, that Yashuv was stunned with the blow, and fell off from his horse to the ground. And the shield burst asunder out of his hand of Yashuv, and through the force of the blow sprang to the distance of about 15 cubits, and the shield fell before the second camp. And the kings that came with Yashuv saw at a distance the strength of Yahudah, the son of Yaakov, and what he had done to Yashuv, and they were terribly afraid of Yahudah. And they assembled near Yashuv's camp, seeing his confusion. And Yahudah drew his sword, and smote 42 men of the camp of Yashuv. And the whole of Yashuv's camp fled from before Yahudah, and no man stood against him. And they left Yashuv and fled from him. And Yashuv was still prostrate upon the ground. And Yashuv, seeing that all the men of his camp had fled from him, hastened and rose up with terror against Yahudah, and stood upon his legs opposite Yahudah. And Yashuv had a single combat with Yahudah, placing his shield toward shield, and Yashuv's men all fled, for they were greatly afraid of Yahudah. And Yashuv took his spear in his hand to strike Yahudah upon his head, but Yahudah had quickly placed his shield to his head against Yashuv's spear, so that the shield of Yahudah received the blow from Yeshuv's spear, and the shield was split in two. And when Yehudah saw that his shield was split, he hastily drew his sword and smote Yeshuv at his ankles and cut off his feet, that Yeshuv fell on the ground, and the spear fell from his hand. And Yehudah hastily picked up Yeshuv's spear, with which he severed his head, and cast it next to his feet. And when the sons of Yaakov saw what Yehudah had done to Yeshuv, they all ran into the ranks of the other kings. And the sons of Yaakov fought with the army of Yeshuv, and the armies of all the kings that were there. And the sons of Yaakov caused 15,000 of their men to fall, and they smote them as if smiting at gourds, and the rest fled for their lives. And Yehudah was still standing by the body of Yeshuv, and stripped Yeshuv of his coat of mail. And Yehudah also took off the iron and brass that was about Yeshuv, and behold, 9 men of the captains of Yeshuv came along to fight against Yehudah. And Yehudah hastened and took up a stone from the ground. With it smote one of them upon the head, and his skull was fractured, and the body also fell from the horse to the ground. And the 8 captains that remained, seeing the strength of Yehudah, were greatly afraid, and they fled. And Yehudah with his 10 men pursued them, and they overtook them and slew them. And the sons of Yaakov were still smiting the armies of the kings, and they slew many of them. But those kings daringly kept their stand with their captains, and did not retreat from their places. And they exclaimed against those of their armies that fled before the sons of Yaakov, but none would listen to them, for they were afraid of their lives, lest they should die. And all the sons of Yaakov, having smitten the armies of the kings, returned and came before Yehudah. And Yehudah was still slaying the 8 captains of Yeshuv, and stripping off their garments. And Levi saw Elon, king of Gaash, advancing toward him, with his 14 captains to smite him, but Levi did not know it for certain. And Elon with his captains approached nearer, and Levi looked back and saw that the battle was given him in the rear. And Levi ran with the 12 of his servants, and they went and slew Elon and his captains with the edge of the sword. Chapter 38. And Eri, king of Shalum, came up to assist Elon, and he approached Yaakov. And when Yaakov drew his bow that was in his hand, and with an arrow struck Eri, which caused his death. And when Eri, king of Shalum, was dead, the 4 remaining kings fled from their station with the rest of their captains, and they endured to retreat, saying, "We have no more strength with the Ephraim after they have killed the 3 kings and their captains, who were more powerful than we are." And when the sons of Yaakov saw that the remaining kings had removed from their stations, they pursued them. And Yaakov also came from the heap of Shechem, from the place where he was standing. And they went after the kings, and they approached them with their servants. And the kings and the captains with the rest of their armies, seeing that the sons of Yaakov approached them, were afraid of their lives, and fled till they reached the city of Khazar. And the sons of Yaakov pursued them to the gate of the city of Khazar, and they smote a great smiting against the kings and their armies, about 4,000 men. And while they were smiting the army of the kings, Yaakov was occupied with his bow, confining himself to smiting the kings, and he slew them all. And he slew Parathon, king of Khazar, at the gate of the city of Khazar, and he afterwards smote Cusi, king of Sarton, and Lavan, king of Bet-Karan, and Shavir, king of Machnema, and he slew them with all arrows, an arrow to each of them, and they died. And the sons of Yaakov, seeing that all the kings were dead, and that they were broken up and retreating, continued to carry on the battle with the armies of the kings opposite the gate of Khazar, and they still smote about 400 of their men. And 3 men of the servants of Yaakov fell in that battle. And when Yehudah saw that 3 of his servants had died, it grieved him greatly, and his anger burned within him against the Emarim. And all the men that remained of the armies of the kings were greatly afraid of their lives, and they ran and broke the gate of the walls of the city of Khazar. And they all entered the city for safety, and they concealed themselves in the midst of the city of Khazar, for the city of Khazar was very large and extensive. And when all these armies had entered the city, the sons of Yaakov ran after them to the city. And 4 mighty men, experienced in battle, went forth from the city and stood against the entrance of the city, with drawn swords and spears in their hands. And they placed themselves opposite the sons of Yaakov, and would not suffer them to enter the city. And Naphtali ran and came between them, and with his sword smote 2 of them, and cut off their heads at one stroke. And he turned to the other 2, and behold, they had fled. And he pursued them, overtook them, and smote them, and slew them. And the sons of Yaakov came to the city and saw, and behold, there was another wall to the city. And they sought for the gate of the wall, and could not find it. And Yehudah sprang up upon the top of the wall, and Shimon and Levi followed him. And they all 3 descended from the wall into the city. And Shimon and Levi slew all the men who ran for safety into the city, and also the inhabitants of the city, with their women and little ones. They slew with the edge of the sword, and the cries of the city ascended up to heaven. And Dan and Naphtali sprang upon the wall to see what caused the noise of lamentation. For the sons of Yaakov felt anxious about their brothers. And they heard the inhabitants of the city speaking with weeping and supplication, saying, "Take all that we possess in the city and go away, only do not put us to death." And when Yehudah, Shimon, and Levi had ceased smiting the inhabitants of the city, they ascended the wall, and called to Dan and Naphtali, who were upon the wall, and to the rest of their brothers. And Shimon and Levi informed them of the entrance into the city, and all the sons of Yaakov came to fetch the spoil. And the sons of Yaakov took the spoil of the city of Khazar, the flocks and herds, and the property, and they took all that could be captured, and went away that day from the city. And on the next day the sons of Yaakov went to Sarton, for they heard that the men of Sarton who had remained in the city were assembling to fight with them for having slain their king. And Sarton was a very high and fortified city, and it had a deep rampart surrounding the city. And the pillar of the rampart was about 50 cubits, and its breadth 40 cubits. And there was no place for a man to enter the city on account of the rampart. And the sons of Yaakov saw the rampart of the city, and they sought an entrance in it, but could not find it. For the entrance to the city was at the rear, and every man that wished to come into the city came by the road and went around the whole city, and he afterwards entered the city. And the sons of Yaakov, seeing that they could not find the way into the city, their anger was kindled greatly, and the inhabitants of the city, seeing that the sons of Yaakov were coming to them, were greatly afraid of them, for they had heard of their strength and what they had done to Khazar. And the inhabitants of the city of Sarton could not go out toward the sons of Yaakov, after having assembled in the city to fight against them, lest they might thereby get into the city. But when they saw that they were coming toward them, they were greatly afraid of them, for they had heard of their strength and what they had done to Khazar. So the inhabitants of Sarton speedily took away the bridge of the road of the city from its place before the sons of Yaakov came, and they brought it into the city. And the sons of Yaakov came and sought the way into the city and could not find it. And the inhabitants of the city went up to the top of the wall and saw, and behold, the sons of Yaakov were seeking an entrance into the city. And the inhabitants of the city reproached the sons of Yaakov from the top of the wall, and they cursed them. And the sons of Yaakov heard the reproaches, and they were greatly incensed, and their anger burned within them. And the sons of Yaakov were provoked at them, and they all rose and sprang over the rampart with the force of their strength, and through their might passed the 40 cubits breadth of the rampart. And when they had passed the rampart, they stood under the wall of the city, and they found all the gates of the city enclosed with iron doors. And the sons of Yaakov came near to break open the doors of the gates of the city, and the inhabitants did not let them. For from the top of the wall they were casting stones and arrows upon them. And the number of people that were upon the wall was about 400 men. And when the sons of Yaakov saw that the men of the city would not let them open the gates of the city, they sprang and ascended to the top of the wall. And Yehudah went up first to the east part of the city. And Gad and Asher went up after him to the west corner of the city, and Shimon and Levi to the north, and Dan and Reuben to the south. And the men who were on top of the wall, the inhabitants of the city, seeing that the sons of Yaakov were coming up to them, they all fled from the wall, descending into the city, and concealed themselves in the midst of the city. And Issachar and Naphtali that remained on the wall approached and broke the gates of the city, and kindled a fire at the gates of the city, that the iron melted. And all the sons of Yaakov came into the city, they and all their men, and they fought with the inhabitants of the city of Sarton, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and no man stood up before them. And about 200 men fled from the city, and they all went and hid themselves in a certain tower in the city. And Yehudah pursued them to the tower, and he broke down the tower, which fell upon the men, and they all died. And the sons of Yaakov went up the road of the roof of that tower, and they saw, and behold, there was another strong and high tower at a distance in the city, and the top of it reached to heaven. And the sons of Yaakov hastened and descended, and went with all their men to that tower, and found it filled with about 300 men, women and little ones. And the sons of Yaakov smote a great smiting against those men in the tower, and they ran away and fled from them. And Shimon and Levi pursued them, when 12 mighty and valiant men came out to them from the place where they had concealed themselves. And those 12 men maintained a strong battle against Shimon and Levi, and Shimon and Levi could not prevail over them. And those valiant men broke the shields of Shimon and Levi, and one of them struck at Levi's head with his sword, when Levi hastily placed his hand to his head, for he was afraid of the sword, and the sword struck Levi's hand, and it wanted but little to the hand of Levi being cut off. And Levi seized the sword of the valiant man in his hand, and took it forcibly from the man, and with it struck at the head of the powerful man, and he severed his head. And 11 men approached to fight with Levi, for they saw that one of them was killed, and the sons of Yaakov fought, but the sons of Yaakov could not prevail over them, for those men were very powerful. And the sons of Yaakov, seeing that they could not prevail over them, Shimon gave a loud and tremendous shriek, and the 11 powerful men were stunned at the voice of Shimon's shrieking. And Yehudah at a distance knew the voice of Shimon shouting. And Naphtali and Yehudah ran with their shields to Shimon and Levi, and found them fighting with those powerful men, unable to prevail over them, as their shields were broken. And Naphtali saw that the shields of Shimon and Levi were broken, and he took 2 shields from his servants and brought them to Shimon and Levi. And Shimon, Levi, and Yehudah on that day fought all 3 against the 11 mighty men until the time of sunset, but they could not prevail over them. And this was told unto Yaakov, and he was sorely grieved, and he prayed unto Yahuah, and he and Naphtali and his son went against these mighty men. And Yaakov approached and drew his bow, and came near unto the mighty men, and slew 3 of their men with the bow. And the remaining 8 turned back, and behold, the war raged against them in front and rear, and they were greatly afraid of their lives, and could not stand before the sons of Yaakov, and they fled from before them. And in their fight they met Dan and Asher coming toward them, and they suddenly fell upon them, and fought with them, and slew 2 of them. And Yehudah and his brothers pursued them, and smote the remaining of them, and slew them. And all the sons of Yaakov returned and walked about the city, searching if they could find any man. And they found about 20 young men in a cave in the city. And Gad and Asher smote them all. And Dan and Naphtali lighted upon the rest of the men who had fled and escaped from the second tower, and they smote them all. And the sons of Yaakov smote all the inhabitants of the city of Sartan, but the women and little ones they left in the city and did not slay them. And all the inhabitants of the city of Sartan were powerful men. One of them would pursue 1,000, and 2 of them would not flee from 10,000 of the rest of the men. And the sons of Yaakov slew all the inhabitants of the city of Sartan with the edge of the sword, that no man stood against them, and they left the women in the city. And the sons of Yaakov took all the spoil of the city, and captured what they desired, and they took flocks and herds and property from the city. And the sons of Yaakov did unto Sartan and its inhabitants as they done to Khazar and its inhabitants. And they turned and went away. Chapter 39. And when the sons of Yaakov went from the city of Sartan, they had gone about 200 cubits when they met the inhabitants of Tapnach, coming toward them, for they went out to fight with them, because they had smitten the king of Tapnach and all his men. So all that remained in the city of Tapnach came out to fight with the sons of Yaakov, and they thought to retake from them the booty and spoil which they had captured from Khazar and Sartan. And the rest of the men of Tapnach fought with the sons of Yaakov in that place. And the sons of Yaakov smote them, and they fled before them, and they pursued them to the city of Arbelon, and they all fell before the sons of Yaakov. And the sons of Yaakov returned and came to Tapnach to take away the spoil of Tapnach. And when they came to Tapnach, they heard that the people of Arbelon had gone out to meet them to save the spoil of their brethren. And the sons of Yaakov left 10 of their men in Tapnach to plunder the city, and they went out toward the people of Arbelon. And the men of Arbelon went out with their women to fight with the sons of Yaakov, for the women were experienced in battle, and they went out about 400 men and women. And all the sons of Yaakov shouted with a loud voice, and they all ran toward the inhabitants of Arbelon, and with a great and tremendous voice. And the inhabitants of Arbelon heard the noise of the shouting of the sons of Yaakov, and their roaring like the noise of lions, and like the roaring of the seas and its waves. And fear and terror possessed their hearts on account of the sons of Yaakov. And they were terribly afraid of them, and they retreated and fled before them into the city. And the sons of Yaakov pursued them to the gate of the city, and they came upon them in the city. And the sons of Yaakov fought them in the city, and all their women were engaged in slinging against the sons of Yaakov. And the combat was very severe amongst them the whole of that day till evening. And the sons of Yaakov could not prevail over them. And the sons of Yaakov had almost perished in that battle. And the sons of Yaakov cried unto Yahuah, and greatly gained strength toward evening. And the sons of Yaakov smote all the inhabitants of Arbelon by the edge of the sword, men, women, and little ones. And also the remainder of the people who had fled from Sartan, the sons of Yaakov smote them in Arbelon. And the sons of Yaakov did unto Arbelon and Tapnach as they had done to Khazar and Sartan. And when the women saw that all the men were dead, they went upon the roofs of the city and smote the sons of Yaakov by showering down stones like rain. And the sons of Yaakov hastened and came into the city and seized all the women and smote them with the edge of the sword. And the sons of Yaakov captured all the spoil and booty, flocks and herds and cattle. And the sons of Yaakov did unto Machnamah as they had done to Tapnach, to Khazar, and to Shalum, and they turned from there and went away. And on the 5th day the sons of Yaakov heard that the people of Gaash had gathered against them to battle, because they had slain their king and their captains, for there had been 14 captains in the city of Gaash, and the sons of Yaakov had slain them all in the first battle. And the sons of Yaakov that day girt on their weapons of war, and they marched to battle against the inhabitants of Gaash. And in Gaash there was a strong and mighty people of the Emorym, and Gaash was the strongest and best fortified city of all the cities of the Emorym, and it had 3 walls. And the sons of Yaakov came to Gaash, and they found the gates of the city locked, and about 500 men standing at the top of the outermost wall, and a people numerous as the sand upon the sea shore were in ambush for the sons of Yaakov from without the city at the rear thereof. And the sons of Yaakov approached to open the gates of the city, and while they were drawing near, behold, those who were in ambush at the rear of the city came forth from their places and surrounded the sons of Yaakov. And the sons of Yaakov were enclosed between the people of Gaash, and the battle was both in their front and rear. And all the men that were upon the wall were casting from the wall upon them arrows and stones. And Yehudah, seeing that the men of Gaash were getting too heavy for them, gave a most piercing and tremendous shriek. And all the men of Gaash were terrified at the voice of Yehudah's cry. And men fell from the walls at his powerful shriek. And all those that were from without and within the city were greatly afraid of their lives. And the sons of Yaakov still came near to break the doors of the city, when the men of Gaash threw stones and arrows upon them from the top of the wall and made them flee from the gate. And the sons of Yaakov returned against the men of Gaash, who were with them from without the city, and they smote them terribly, as striking against gourds. And they could not stand against the sons of Yaakov, for fright and terror had seized them at the shriek of Yehudah. And the sons of Yaakov slew all those men who were without the city, and the sons of Yaakov still drew near to effect on an entrance into the city, and to fight under the city walls. But they could not, for all the inhabitants of Gaash who remained in the city had surrounded the walls of Gaash in every direction, so that the sons of Yaakov were unable to approach the city to fight with them. And the sons of Yaakov came near to one corner to fight under the wall, and the inhabitants of Gaash threw arrows and stones upon them like showers of rain, and they fled from under the wall. And the people of Gaash who were upon the wall, seeing that the sons of Yaakov could not prevail over them from under the wall, reproached the sons of Yaakov in their words, saying, What is the matter with you in the battle that you cannot prevail? Can you then do unto the mighty city of Gaash and its inhabitants as you did to the cities of the enemies that were not so powerful? Surely to those weak ones amongst us you did those things, and slew them in the entrance of the city, for they had no strength when they were terrified at the sound of your shouting. And will you now then be able to fight in this place? Surely here you will all die, and we will avenge the cause of those cities that you have laid waste. And the inhabitants of Gaash greatly reproached the sons of Yaakov, and reviled them with their Elohim, and continued to cast arrows and stones upon them from the wall. And Yehudah and his brothers heard the words of the inhabitants of Gaash, and their anger was greatly roused. And Yehudah was jealous of his Yahuah in this matter. And he called out and said, O Yahuah, send help to us and our brothers. And he ran at a distance with all his might, with his drawn sword in his hand, and he sprang from the earth, and by dint of his strength mounted the wall. His sword fell from his hand, and Yehudah shouted upon the wall, and all the men that were upon the wall were terrified, and some of them fell from the wall into the city and died. And those who were yet upon the wall, when they saw Yehudah's strength, they were greatly afraid, and fled for their lives into the city for safety. And some were embodied to fight with Yehudah upon the wall. And they came near to slay him when they saw there was no sword in Yehudah's hand, and they thought of casting him from the wall to his brothers. And 20 men of the city came up to assist them, and they surrounded Yehudah, and they all shouted over him and approached him with drawn swords, and they terrified Yehudah. And Yehudah cried out to his brothers from the wall. And Yaakov and his sons drew the bow from under the wall, and smote 3 of the men that were upon the top of the wall. And Yehudah continued to cry and exclaimed, O Yahuah, help us. O Yahuah, deliver us. And he cried out with a loud voice upon the wall, and the cry was heard at a distance. And after this he again repeated to shout, and all the men who surrounded Yehudah on the top of the wall were terrified. and they each drew his sword from his hand at the sound of Yehudah's shouting and his tremor, and fled. And Yehudah took the swords which had fallen from their hands, and Yehudah fought with them, and slew 20 of their men upon the wall. And about 80 men and women still ascended the wall from the city, and they all surrounded Yehudah. And Yahuah impressed the fear of Yehudah in their hearts, that they were unable to approach him. And Yaakov and all who were with him drew the bow from under the wall, and they slew 10 men upon the wall, and they fell below the wall before Yaakov and his sons. And the people upon the wall, seeing that 20 of their men had fallen, they still ran toward Yehudah with drawn swords, but they could not approach him, for they were greatly terrified at Yehudah's strength. And one of their mighty men, whose name was Arud, approached to strike Yehudah upon the head with his sword. And when Yehudah hastily put up his shield to his head, and the sword hit the shield, it was split in two. And this mighty man, after he had struck Yehudah, ran for his life. And the fear of Yehudah and his feet slipped upon the wall, and he fell amongst the sons of Yaakov, who were below the wall. And the sons of Yaakov smote him and slew him. And Yehudah's head pained him from the blow of the powerful man, and Yehudah had nearly died from it. And Yehudah cried out upon the wall, owing to the pain produced by the blow. When Dan heard him, and his anger burned within him, and he also rose up and went at a distance, and ran and sprang from the earth, and mounted the wall with his wrath excited strength. And when Dan came upon the wall near Yehudah, all the men upon the wall fled, who stood against Yehudah, and they went up to the second wall, and they threw arrows and stones upon Dan and Yehudah from the second wall, and endeavored to drive them from the wall. And the arrows and stones struck Dan and Yehudah, and they had nearly been killed upon the wall. And wherever Dan and Yehudah fled from the wall, they were attacked with arrows and stones from the second wall. And Yaakov and his sons were still at the entrance of the city below the first wall, and they were not able to draw their bows against the inhabitants of the city, as they could not be seen by them, being upon the second wall. And Dan and Yehudah, when they could no longer bear the stones and arrows that fell upon them from the second wall, they both sprang upon the second wall near the people of the city. When the people of the city who were upon the second wall saw that Dan and Yehudah had come to them upon the second wall, they all cried out and descended below between the walls. And Yaakov and his sons heard the noise of the shouting from the people of the city, and they were still at the entrance of the city. And they were anxious about Dan and Yehudah, who were not seen by them, they being upon the second wall. And Naphtali went up with his wrath excited might, and sprang upon the first wall to see what caused the noise of shouting, which they had heard in the city. And Issachar and Zebulun drew near to break the doors of the city, and they opened the gates of the city, and came into the city. And Naphtali leaped from the first wall to the second, and came to assist his brothers. And the inhabitants of Gaash, who were upon the wall, seeing that Naphtali was the third who had come up to assist his brothers, they all fled and descended into the city. And Yaakov and all his sons and all their young men came into the city to them. And Yehudah and Dan and Naphtali descended from the wall into the city, and pursued the inhabitants of the city. And Shimon and Levi were from without the city, and knew not that the gate was opened. And they went up from there to the wall, and came down to their brothers into the city. And the inhabitants of the city had all descended into the city, and the sons of Yaakov came to them in different directions, and the battle waged against them from the front and the rear. And the sons of Yaakov smote them terribly, and slew about 20,000 of them, men and women. Not one of them could stand against the sons of Yaakov. And the blood flowed plentifully in the city, and it was like a brook of water, and the blood flowed like a brook to the outer part of the city, and reached to the desert of Bet-Coron. And the people of Bet-Coron saw at a distance the blood flowing from the city of Gaash, And about 70 men from amongst them ran to see the blood, and they came to the place where the blood was. And they followed the track of the blood and came to the wall of the city of Gaash, and they saw the blood issue from the city, and they heard the voice of crying from the inhabitants of Gaash, for it ascended unto heaven, and the blood was continuing to flow abundantly like a brook of water. And all the sons of Yaakov were still smiting the inhabitants of Gaash, and were engaged in slaying them till evening, about 20,000 men and women. And the people of Karan said, Surely this is the work of the Ephraim, for they are still carrying on war in all the cities of the Amorim. And those people hastened and ran to Bet Karan, and each took his weapons of war, and they cried out to all the inhabitants of Bet Karan, who also girt on their weapons of war, to go and fight with the sons of Yaakov. And when the sons of Yaakov had done smiting the inhabitants of Gaash, they walked about the city to strip all the slain, and coming in the innermost part of the city, farther on they met 3 powerful men, and there was no sword in their hand. And the sons of Yaakov came to the place where they were, and the powerful men ran away. One of them had taken Zebulun, who he saw was a young lad and of short stature, and with his might dashed him to the ground. And Yaakov ran to him with his sword, and Yaakov smote him below his loins with the sword, and cut him in two, and the body fell upon Zebulun. And the second one approached and seized Yaakov to fell him to the ground. And Yaakov turned to him and shouted to him, while Shimon and Levi ran and smote him on the hips with the sword, and felled him to the ground. And the powerful man rose up from the ground with wrath, excited might. And Yehudah came to him before he had gained his footing, and struck him on the head with the sword, and his head was split, and he died. And the third powerful man, seeing that his companions were killed, ran from before the sons of Yaakov. And the sons of Yaakov pursued him in the city. And while the powerful man was fleeing, he found one of the swords of the inhabitants of the city, and he picked it up and turned to the sons of Yaakov, and fought them with that sword. And the powerful man ran to Yehudah to strike him upon the head with the sword, and there was no shield in the hand of Yehudah. And while he was aiming to strike him, Naphtali hastily took his shield and put it into Yehudah's head, and the sword of the powerful man hit the shield of Naphtali, and Yehudah escaped the sword. And Shimon and Levi ran upon the powerful man with their swords, and struck him forcibly with their swords, and their 2 swords entered the body of the powerful man, and divided it into 2 lengthwise. And the sons of Yaakov smote the 3 mighty men at that time, together with all the inhabitants of Gaash, and the day was about to decline. And the sons of Yaakov walked about Gaash, and took all the spoil of the city, even the little ones and women they did not suffer to live. And the sons of Yaakov did unto Gaash as they had done to Sarton and Shiloh. Chapter 40. The sons of Yaakov led away all the spoil of Gaash, and went out of the city by night. They were going out marching toward the castle of Bet Karan, and the inhabitants of Bet Karan were going to the castle to meet them. And on that night the sons of Yaakov fought with the inhabitants of Bet Karan in the castle of Bet Karan. And all the inhabitants of Bet Karan were mighty men. One of them would not flee from before 1,000 men. And they fought on that night upon the castle, and their shouts were heard on that night from afar, and the earth quaked at their shouting. And all the sons of Yaakov were afraid of those men, as they were not accustomed to fight in the dark, and they were greatly confounded. And the sons of Yaakov cried unto Yahuah, saying, Give help to us, O Yahuah. Deliver us, that we may not die by the hands of these uncircumcised men. And Yahuah hearkened to the voice of the sons of Yaakov, and Yahuah caused terror and confusion to seize the people of Bet Karan, and they fought amongst themselves, the one with the other in the darkness of night, and smote each other in great numbers. And the sons of Yaakov, knowing that Yahuah had brought a ruach of perverseness amongst those men, and they fought each other, man with his neighbor, went forth from among the bands of the people of Bet Karan, and went as far as the descent of the castle of Bet Karan, and further, and they tarried these securely with their young men on that night. And the people of Bet Karan fought the whole night, one man with his brother, and the other with his neighbor, and they cried out in every direction upon the castle, and their cry was heard at a distance, and the whole earth shook at their voice, for they were powerful above all the people of the earth. And all the inhabitants of the cities of the Canaanim, the Kittim, the Emarim, the Kavim, and all the kings of Canaan, and also those who were on the other side of the Jordan, heard the noise of the shouting on that night. And they said, surely these are the battles of the Emrim, who are fighting against the 7 cities, who came near unto them. Who can stand against those Ephraim? And all the inhabitants of the city of the Canaanim, and all those who were on the other side of the Jordan, were greatly afraid of the sons of Yaakov. For they said, behold, the same will be done to us as was done to those cities. For who can stand against their mighty strength? And the cries of the Koranim were very great on that night, and continued to increase. And they smote each other till morning, and numbers of them were killed. And the morning appeared, and all the sons of Yaakov rose up at daybreak, and went up to the castle, and they smote those who remained of the Koranim in a terrible manner, and they were all killed in the castle. And the 6th day appeared, and all the inhabitants of Canaan saw at a distance all the people of Bet Karan lying dead in the castle of Bet Karan, and strewed about as the carcasses as lambs and goats. And the sons of Yaakov led all the spoil which they had captured from Gaash, and went to Bet Karan, and they found the city full of people like the sand of the sea, and they fought with them. And the sons of Yaakov smote them there till evening time. And the sons of Yaakov did unto Bet Karan as they had done to Gaash and Tapnach, and as they had done to Kazar, to Sartan, and to Shiloh. And the sons of Yaakov took with them the spoil of Bet Karan, and all the spoil of the cities. And on that day they went home to Shechem. And the sons of Yaakov came home to the city of Shechem, and they remained without the city. And they then rested there from the war, and tarried there all night. And all their servants together with all the spoil they had taken from the cities, they left without the city. And they did not enter the city, for they said, perchance there may be yet more fighting against us, and they may come to besiege us in Shechem. And Yaakov and his sons and their servants remained on that night and the next day in the portion of the field which Yaakov had purchased from Camar for 5 shekels, and all that they had captured was with them. And all the booty which the sons of Yaakov had captured was in the portion of the field, immense as the sand upon the seashore. And the inhabitants of the land observed them from afar, and all the inhabitants of the land were afraid of the sons of Yaakov, who had done this thing. For no king from the days of old had ever done the like. And the 7 kings of the Canaanim resolved to make peace with the sons of Yaakov, for they were greatly afraid of their lives on account of the sons of Yaakov. And on that day, being the 7th day, Yahuah, king of Kebron, sent securely to the king of Ai, and to the king of Givon, and to the king of Shalum, and to the king of Adullam, and to the king of Lachish, and the king of Khazar, and to all the Canaanite kings who were under their subjection, saying, go up with me, and come to me, that we may go to the sons of Yaakov, and I will make peace with them, and form a treaty with them, lest all your lands be destroyed by the swords of the sons of Yaakov, as they did to Shechem and the cities around it, as you have heard and seen. And when you come to me, do not come with many men, but let every king bring his 3 head captains, and every captain bring 3 of his officers. And come all of you to Kebron, and we will go together to the sons of Yaakov, and supplicate them that they shall form a treaty of peace with us. And all those kings did as the king of Kebron had sent to them, for they were all under his counsel and command. And all the kings of Canaan assembled to go to the sons of Yaakov to make peace with them. And the sons of Yaakov returned and went to the portion of the field that was in Shechem, for they did not put confidence in the kings of the land. And the sons of Yaakov returned and remained in the portion of the field 10 days, and no one came to make war with them. And when the sons of Yaakov saw that there was no appearance of war, they all assembled and went to the city of Shechem, and the sons of Yaakov remained in Shechem. And at the expiration of 40 days, all the kings of the enemies assembled from all their places and came to Hebron, to Yahuah, king of Hebron. And the number of kings that came to Hebron to make peace with the sons of Yaakov was 21 kings. And the number of captains that came with them was 69. And their men were 189. And all these kings and their men rested by Mount Hebron. And the king of Hebron went out with his 3 captains and 9 men. And these kings resolved to go to the sons of Yaakov to make peace. And they said unto the king of Hebron, Go you before us with your men, and speak for us unto the sons of Yaakov, and we will come after you and confirm your words. And the king of Hebron did so. And the sons of Yaakov heard that all the kings of Canaan had gathered together and rested in Hebron. And the sons of Yaakov sent 4 of their servants as spies, saying, Go and spy these kings, and search and examine their men, whether they are few or many, and if they are but few in number, number them all and come back. And the servants of Yaakov went secretly to these kings, and did as the sons of Yaakov had commanded them. And on that day they came back to the sons of Yaakov, and said unto them, We came unto those kings, and they are but few in number, and we numbered them all, and behold, there were 288 kings and men. And the sons of Yaakov said, They are but few in number, therefore we will not all go out to them. And in the morning the sons of Yaakov rose up, and chose 62 of their men, and 10 of the sons of Yaakov went with them. And they girt on their weapons of war, for they said, They are coming to make war with us, for they know not that they were coming to make peace with them. And the sons of Yaakov went with their servants to the gate of Shechem, toward those kings, and their father Yaakov was with them. And when they had come forth, behold, the king of Hebron and his 3 captains and 9 men were with him, coming along the road against the sons of Yaakov. And the sons of Yaakov lifted up their eyes, and saw at a distance Yahuah, king of Hebron, with his captains coming toward them. And the sons of Yaakov took their stand at the place of the gate of Shechem, and did not proceed. And the king of Hebron continued to advance, he and his captains, until he came near to the sons of Yaakov. And he and his captains bowed down to them to the ground. And the king of Hebron sat with his captains before Yaakov and his sons. And the sons of Yaakov said unto him, What has befallen you, O king of Hebron? Why have you come to us this day? What do you require from us? And the king of Hebron said unto Yaakov, I beseech you, my Adonai, all the kings of the Canaanim have this day come to make peace with you. And the sons of Yaakov heard the words of the king of Hebron, and they would not consent to his proposals. For the sons of Yaakov had no faith in him, for they imagined that the king of Hebron had spoken deceitfully to them. And the king of Hebron knew from the words of the sons of Yaakov that they did not believe his words. And the king of Hebron approached nearer to Yaakov, and said unto him, I beseech you, my Adonai, to be assured that all these kings have come to you on peaceable terms, for they have not come with all their men, neither did they bring their weapons of war with them, for they have come to seek peace from my Adonai and his sons. And the sons of Yaakov answered the king of Hebron, saying, Send you to all these kings, and if you speak truth unto us, let them each come singly before us. And if they come unto us unarmed, we shall know then that they seek peace from us. And Yahuah, king of Hebron, sent one of his men to the kings, and they all came before the sons of Yaakov, bowed down to the ground. And these kings sat before Yaakov and his sons, and they spoke unto them, saying, We have heard all that you did unto the kings of the enemies with your sword, an exceedingly mighty arm, so that no man could stand up before you. And we were afraid of you for the sake of our lives, lest it should befall us as it did to them. So we have come unto you to form a treaty of peace between us. And now therefore contract with us a covenant of peace and truth, that you will not meddle with us, inasmuch as we will have not meddled with you. And the sons of Yaakov knew that they really had come to seek peace for them. And the sons of Yaakov listened to them and formed a covenant with them. And the sons of Yaakov swore unto them that they would not meddle with them. And all the kings of the Canaanim swore also to them. And the sons of Yaakov made them tributary from that day forward. And after this, all the captains of these kings came with their men before Yaakov, with presents in their hands for Yaakov and his sons, and they bowed down to him to the ground. And these kings and urged the sons of Yaakov, and begged of them to return all the spoil they had captured from the 7 cities of the Emorium. And the sons of Yaakov did so. And they returned all that they had captured, the women, the little ones, the cattle, and all the spoil which they had taken. And they sent them off, and they went away, each to his city. And all the kings again bowed down to the sons of Yaakov. And they sent or brought them many gifts in those days. And the sons of Yaakov sent off these kings and their men, and they went peaceably away from them to their cities. And the sons of Yaakov also returned to their home, to Shechem. And there was peace from that day forward between the sons of Yaakov and the kings of the Canaanim, until the children of Yasharal came to inherit the land of Canaan. Hallelujah. This concludes the reading of the Cepher of Yashar, chapters 36 to 40, or also known as the book of Jasher. I pray that the reading today has been a blessing to you. I just want to highlight a couple things from this reading. I took away, let's see here, in chapter 36, I thought it was interesting that, just to point out in verse 7 that Yahuah smote Laban because he transgressed the covenant between him and Yaakov. You all, if you don't, definitely read or, seek Yahuah for clarity about what it means to be in covenant and making a covenant with someone. So in this case, from the previous reading, there was a peace that was made or a covenant made between him, Laban, and Yaakov after, Yaakov fled with his family. And what did Laban do? He came and instigated the situation. He made peace in his face, but then turned around and sent his people to go instigate with Esau to get Esau excited again and wanting to kill Yaakov. Ultimately, as you study what it means to make a covenant, you're not supposed to break it. And when you read the Cepher, you'll see it's mentioned a lot of times, 7 oaths. But ultimately, Laban got what was coming to him. Yahuah smote him for breaking the promise he had made of peace. I think it was, and then by verse 13 and 15 through 15 in chapter 36, I just want to point out, this is kind of the backstory of what happened with Reuben and Bilhah and how Reuben lost his birthright. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, go back and listen to the reading of the Testament of Reuben. I'm doing this series, I guess, if you want to call it that, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. So each week on Saturday, or those of you who use this as your day of Shabbat, I read that. I've been reading it. So I read Reuben 2 weeks ago. I read Shimon last week. And this week I'm going to be reading Levi, or also known as Louis. And needless to say, you should go back and listen to the Testament of Reuben. All you have to do is click under the live and you'll see it, because he shares his wisdom before he died regarding his transgression, and specifically with Bilhah. And it cost him so much. And I just believe you'll take away some lessons from the wisdom that he just truly imparts. Hallelujah. And I want to just point out, I think there's two last things that just, because these last few chapters were just amazing. And obviously we got to experience a lot of battle in this. But the last two things I do want to point out is how in the midst of battle, they called out, Yaakov and his sons called out to Yahuah for help. Number one, and Yahuah answered them. He kept them. None of them died in battle against these kings and their mighty men and the various fortresses they had to enter into in order to subdue the territory. And so, needless to say, there's that Yahuah answers the righteous, and he protected them and he gave them victory over them, and so much so they were able to walk away with spoil. And then secondly, this is what I do appreciate about like books like the Jasher or the Cepher of Yashar. You get to really go deeper into the supernatural, and you can understand now why these books were taken out, because look at Yehudah alone. I mean, the strength of Yehudah and how he was the first to take the charge and, leaping over walls, and his supernatural strength is absolutely, it's crazy. I mean, we don't know anybody today that has that kind of strength, but we have to also acknowledge that the fact that the way that not only Yehudah had the strength, and Shimon and Levi, those two alone took on a whole city by themselves. In previous chapters that I've read. And because Yahuah was with them, they walked with Yahuah. That was, and let's apply that to today. Imagine if our people, if we came together and truly served Yahuah the way our ancestors did. Imagine the type of supernatural power that would be upon us. Oh my gosh. But first we got to get to the point we walking with Yahuah, right? You know what I mean? We're serving him as a nation together. The 12 tribes serving Yahuah. Oh my gosh. So I just, that's kind of my takeaway there's a lot more that I can mention, but I don't want this video to be any longer. But it's, I pray that who is giving you revelation, and you've just heard things, or some things have come to mind that if you've read it before, that didn't even stand out before. But the times that we're in right now, and as I was reading this, if we would come back to our Father as a nation. When I say nation, I'm not talking about United States of America nation. I'm talking about Yahuah's chosen people, the descendants of the scattered from the diaspora. Imagine if we came back to serving just Yah and Yah alone. Those that are already awakened to his truth, and those that Yahuah would give them eyes to see and ears to hear, those that are spiritually blind still. Imagine that, because Yahuah took the sons of Yaakov and their servants fought against kings with an army of the sand of the sea. Like, it's crazy. And multiple kings came against them, and they still prevailed. But they prevailed because Yah was with them. And why was Yah with them? Because they served him. They trusted him. Hallelujah. So those are my key takeaways that I walked away with from reading this again with you. If you're new to this channel, welcome. And as I've mentioned before, definitely check out the playlist for previous readings, as well as other books from the Cepher that you can follow along with. And then check out the live tab, because you can listen to other lives from the past. And again, I'm reading through the testament of the 12 patriarchs, and we're getting ready to do the testament of Louis. And those of you that have been rocking with me, I appreciate you all. I appreciate the comments, and just sharing. As iron sharpens iron, it's a blessing to me, but I know it's definitely a blessing to others that are coming to the channel and reading along. Hallelujah. If you haven't already, please share, like, and subscribe. Ane ahabata mashpika. I love you, family. Yahuah barakata. Yahuah bless you. Shalom.